what's good, fam? Today I'm gonna teach y'all how to cook a motherfucking steak. Now, how people usually cook it is they just add a couple bits of seasoning like salt and pepper and they say that that's it. Nah, fam, you gotta season the ish out of that steak, bruh. So what I have to make the steak are, obviously, steak, butter, the knife, classics, salt and pepper, that ish. And for the other seasonings, garlic powder, chili powder. Now let's get into how to really make this ish. Now before you do anything, you'll want to have to unpeel a garlic clove. Trust me, it really adds to the flavor. I know some of you might say, oh, it doesn't actually. Nah, freaking does, bruh. So how to easily peel it off is, see this top here? Just rip that off, rip it, like, ah! And then you can easily just take all the cloves out. Oh, there's one clove, 2 cloves, 3 cloves. Frick, I just pulled this like my dick. Alright, so I just got 6 of these cloves out. That's the usual amount that I use for it, but you can use more or less depending on how much you want to use for the steak or whatever, I don't give a frick. Next, you gotta smash the cloves of the garlic with your knife that I have right here. So I'm gonna show you how to do that, bruh. Alright, so what you do is just take one of these, take this knife. Usually I do it with both hands, but since I'm recording with one, I'm just gonna do it like this. So basically, you just press down, So basically, you just press down like this, and then, does a lot better job, but you get the point. Oh, there we go. And by doing that, you'll get rid of all the excess stuff that's already on the clove. Like all of that ish. So yeah, just basically repeat with all the cloves and you'll be good to go. I've just crushed all the garlic cloves and I've already cut a piece of butter. I usually cut it this thick so that way it can spread evenly around the pan and make the steak extra juicy. So now what you want to do next is go ahead and heat this up like so. And go ahead and put the pan on here. Let that heat up for a bit. Now, what we do next is take the olive oil and spread that all over here so that way it can moisten up and get all over everything. Then what we do next is just spread that around with a knife so that way it can evenly get everywhere. Now, time for the seasoning. First we put on the salt. Get that extra salty, like my ex, who left me. No, I'm not still salty about that. Yeah, she left me. Yeah, it was for a guy with a bigger D, but who freaking cares? I'm not salty, no. Why did you say that? Alright, next, get the pepper. Oh, frick. Yeah, sometimes it'll just come out in one bit. That's what she said! Next, you add the garlic powder. Get that seasoned on there. Now, for the chili powder. There we go. You might not be able to see it, but that's looking pretty freaking good.
Dang, that looked good!
Now, flip it over, like I did with my new girl. Okay, I'll stop. And just repeat the process. So I'll just skip until it's ready. Alright, the steak is all seasoned and ready to go in. But first, before we do anything else, we put some olive oil onto the pan. Then we just kind of stir that around a bit. So that way it gets in everywhere evenly. Ooh. Now, we take the steak with the tongs and just place it in. Ooh. Listen to that sizzle, bruh. Alright, now, take the garlic cloves and just place them in the pan like that. Now, take your thing of butter, just place it in there. Now you're going to want to stir that around. Oh, look at that. Yeah, just basically do all of that. And once the butter's melted, you just let this in here for a couple minutes, then you flip it over. So you'll just want to kind of move it around a bit. So I just kind of want to stir the juices around. Right now I'm getting the spoon. Now, with the spoon, once it starts to get more onto that, we'll take some of the juices from the pan and just place it on here, so that way the steak can be moistened up even more. Of course, I'm gonna have to do it with 2 hands, but you get the main process. It's usually a lot more, and then you just basically put that all over the steak. But yeah, you get it. I just flipped it over, and it's looking pretty decent. Take some of this and just place it all over the steak, so that way it won't get dry after a bit. Usually I just turn it over like that, get some of the stuff that's over there, then place it on there, watch it drip down, and have it get all moist. That can be taken so far out of context. What the frick? Yeah. Bro, this video is going to trigger so many vegans, I already know it. So yeah, just repeat the process until it's done. Yeah, just stir all of this around occasionally so that way it doesn't build up into anything, you know? Alright, let's flip it over again to see how it's going. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Now that's a good looking steak. So yeah, as usual, go ahead and get some of this from over here, and just drizzle it on the steak like so. You see this dish? You seeing this dish? That's drizzled on there. Like all types of other stuff that can happen. Honestly, I have no idea what the frig I'm talking about. And make sure you get some of the juices and stuff on some of the more cooked parts of the steak, like the edges. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I just place it on some of the more cooked parts. Now, what you want to do once you think it's finishing up cooking is to just take a knife and like make a small slit into this, and then peel it back with something else to see if it's still pretty pink in the middle. If there's a good amount of pink, then you're close to done. If it's still very pink, then yeah, it's looking pretty good. Don't know if you can see, but that's looking decently pink. Not too pink to be rare, but you know. Also, side note, you're gonna get some bits of oil splats going on your hand when you're cooking steak. Don't worry, that's perfectly normal. Sometimes there's just gonna be bits of oil that spring up and then hit your hand. It happens all the time when people cook, I would assume. Just don't worry if tiny bits of oil hit your hand. I think it's done. It's pretty cooked on the edges and all that. So let's go ahead and turn this off and place this on the plate. Ooh, look at that. That's looking pretty neat. Now what you want to do next is let this rest for 5 minutes, so that way all the juices can rest in the steak and make it taste a whole lot better. In the meantime, you can just basically clean everything else up. Sometimes what I like to do with my steak is like put a thinner piece of butter on top of this, so that way it can like get even more juicy and just like fall down the sides of the steak. Now that's the stuff right there. Like right here, got the silverware over there. And everything's just looking pretty neat. Now I just need to have a taste tester come over here and taste the steak, because I want to see what they have to think about it. So, get here, brah! Alright, so I heard that Swagtroopa, or Tom, has made me a steak. And I mean, it's looking pretty decent. I mean, I must say so myself. Ooh, look at all the juices there. The thing I'm kind of worried about is if he did anything with it.
Hey, he didn't do anything to it. I got it all.
Yeah, well, you can never be too sure.
Forgot.
Who cares? Anyway, let's get right into this steak, literally. Alright, get a look at this. That's looking pretty neat. Alright, here we go. Now that's a good steak. It really tastes everything in there. Ooh, I can taste some of the chili or garlic powder or something like that. It's not too overcooked, not too undercooked. It's literally just perfect. And there's a small bit of pink in there too, which really adds to everything. Yeah, I give this a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it can use some more stuff.
You have to give it a 10 out of 10.
Nah, I'm sticking with that.
No, you better give it a freaking 10 out of 10 or I swear to frick.
Alright, fine. I give this a 10 out of 10, people. Very happy?
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'll let you finish the video.
There you have it, how to cook the perfect steak. My main inspiration for making this video was watching Rich Brian's video on 88 Rising on how he makes his steak. He did stuff with his steak that made it taste really good, and I've been making steak for a while, and I just wanted to show how I make my steak, so, you know. So if you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. If you liked it, leave a like, hit the subscribe button on the video, hit the bell notification so you get all the notifications for my videos, and stay boss fam, let's get that dough, let's get that bread, yeah yeet!